version of the Ashtanga Yoga primary series. I'm going to clean up the room and get it ready for the practice, and I'll put on some Alan Watts while doing that.
Dukkha, frustration. So we are living, as it were, on many, many levels of rhythm. This is the nature of change. If you resist it, you have dukkha, you have frustration of suffering. But on the other hand, if you understand change, you don't cling to it, and you let it flow,
Excuse me.
then it's no problem. It becomes positively beautiful. Which is why, in poetry, the theme of the evanescence of the world is beautiful. It's always the image of change that really makes the poet. Japanese have a word, yugen, Y-U-G, which has no English equivalent whatsoever. Yugen is in a way digging change. It's described poetically. You have the feeling of yugen when you see out the
Excuse me,
water
sir.
some ships hidden behind the far-off island. You have the feeling of yugen when you watch wild beasts suddenly seen and then lost in the crowd.
So we're going to do the meditation on the Buddha here in just a minute. When the nice song is over, I've had some coffee. I know that's why you're watching.
You have the feeling of yugen.
People are just watching for the cats.
You've never been to the other side, and you see the sky beyond. You don't go over there, look to see what's on the other side. That wouldn't be yugen. You let the other side be the other side. And it evokes something in your imagination that you don't attempt to define this now.
Okay, so we're going to jump into the meditation on the Buddha and then do the short version of the Ashtanga Yoga primary series. After the meditation on the Buddha, probably some breathing exercise, and I'll finish cleaning out the room. So we're following the teachings of the Buddhists and nuns from Shravasti Abbey in Washington State, and they have a YouTube channel, and we're listening to one of their videos for this meditation. So I invite you to follow along. This is part of a daily routine, doing 60 days in a row meditation and yoga. Ideally also martial arts, but right now I'm trying to catch up on the bills, so I'm doing the short version of the meditation and the yoga without the martial arts workout, because I'm getting run down doing bike deliveries, and I have to keep my health and strength for making money until the bills are paid. As soon as I'm caught up, I'll be doing the whole routine, an hour and a half of yoga with like a 30 to 40 minute workout after the meditation on the Buddha. But we'll begin.
We do the practices with this aspiration to be a benefit to beings, not to harm them, to benefit them, and in our understanding, the best benefit is actually for beings to be liberated from cyclic existence, and we aim to become Buddhists in order to help beings to be free in this way. So generate those thoughts in your own life. So the Buddha has laid out this sadhana for us, helping us to generate these various mind states. And she starts by having us think about all of our potential, all the kind of positive qualities that we can develop. Infinite love, compassion, wisdom, skillful means. So imagine what it would feel like to be those qualities. Just let yourself be love, wisdom, try to feel the expansiveness and peace in your heart. The wisdom that it takes to have this kind heart. To be unencumbered in any way. Vast and expansive. Taking everything that's happening in this world, reaching out to every being, human and otherwise, to benefit each one. So now imagine that these qualities of love, compassion, wisdom, skillful means appear in front of you in the form of Shakyamuni Buddha. So imagine this Buddha in front of you, in the space in front of you made of radiant, transparent light. He's sitting on a throne, above which is an open lotus flower and cushions of the sun and lotus. This entire visualization is made of radiant, transparent light. living being with a light body. So you feel yourself in the presence of the Buddha. But Buddha's body is golden in color. He wears the robes of a monastic. His right hand, with the palm down, rests on his right knee. The earth touching mudra. And his left hand is in his lap holding a bowl of nectar. And this nectar is the medicine to cure our afflictions and all of our hindrances. And the Buddha's face is very beautiful. You can look at the Buddha's eyes. He's smiling. His eyes are smiling. He's looking at you with total acceptance. And as he looks at you, he's also encompassing all sentient beings. The Buddha's eyes are very peaceful, long and narrow. His lips are red and his earlobes are long. Imagine rays of light radiating from every pore of the Buddha's body. This golden light going up to all the parts of the universe, touching beings, carrying miniature Buddhas to help beings. And as they complete their work, they dissolve back into the Buddha. The Buddha is surrounded by the entire lineage of spiritual teachers, all the meditational deities, innumerable other Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, Arhats, Dakas, Dakinis, Dharma protectors. And at the side, near each spiritual mentor, is an elegant table, and on it are Dharma books. The sounds of the Dharma fill the air. And they're all so happy that we're here doing this together. Imagine their minds just blissful and peaceful, gazing at all sentient beings. So you imagine that actually you are surrounded by all sentient beings in human form. Your mother of this life is on your left. Your father of this life is on your right. Any people you have difficulty with, you imagine in front of you, facing the Buddha, keeping them there for protection. Family and friends are nearby. Countless strangers fill the space around you. And all of us are looking to the Buddha for guidance. So first we need to cultivate a sense of refuge. So we think of all the dangers of cyclic existence. Just think about how things are not secure. We run into dissatisfaction often, dukkha often. And people, all the beings around us, all the sentient beings around us, are also in the same boat, floundering in cyclic existence. And many of them have not met any kind of teachings that will help them out of this quagmire. So we generate compassion. And now think of the wonderful qualities of the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, and generate this sense of confidence in them, and their ability to guide you out of all of these recurring problems. To take refuge, we need the causes, this kind of concern, this kind of alarm, fear type, and also this confidence and faith. and the compassion. So it is possible on the basis of your present life and mind to free yourself from all of these undesirable experiences. It's a resolve to explore that possibility to the fullest. Feel great trust and confidence in the three jewels, and open your heart to rely upon them to guide you and others from all of these difficulties of cyclic existence and bring us to the peace, liberation, full awakening. So as we do these refuge verses, starting here, now we're at the top of page 21, we'll be taking refuge in the Buddha, and we imagine actually leading all of the sentient beings around us and going for refuge. And we visualize white, radiant light flowing from all of the Buddhas, the spiritual mentors, the Bodhisattvas, all of these holy beings flowing into us and all the beings around us. And this light completely purifies all of our destructive karmic imprints and afflictions. And it also brings all the realizations of the path. So put your hands in prayer position. Namo Guruvya, Namo Buddhaya, Namo Dharmaya, Namo Sanghaya, 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 Namo Guruvya, Namo Buddhaya, Namo Dharmaya, Namo Sanghaya. So feel that you've come under the protection of the three jewels. turn our thoughts to others and think about how much we depend on other beings for everything that we have, everything we know, everything we use, everything we enjoy, our food, clothing, resources of every kind. These come due to the efforts of others. Our knowledge, talents, good qualities, these too are developed due to the kindness of others. And our ability to practice the Dharma certainly depends on others who brought the teachings to us for the millennia by generating realizations in their mind and teaching. So this is a very great kindness, all of these things we have we want to bring to mind. Our innermost wish is to be free from suffering. And this is the case for everyone else as well. We want to be happy. All beings want to be happy. And like us, they encounter many difficulties, problems, sufferings. And usually, actually, their difficulties are more so than our own. Not always, but often. And when we examine our capacity to help beings, we find that we're actually quite limited. And we know from our practice that if we can reduce our anger, our attachment, our ignorance, our various faults, if we can increase all of our good qualities, we're really going to be in a position to benefit beings. Imagine if we had just this generous heart, gives so easily, takes delight in giving, the kind of ethics that doesn't harm, has that just ingrained fortitude, loving kindness, compassion, wisdom. We'll be in an excellent position to help beings by having our good qualities developed. And if we develop them fully, like Buddha does, then we'll be able to be of the greatest benefit to beings. So we generate this altruistic intention in order to be able to benefit beings most effectively. So as we take refuge and generate bodhicitta, imagine that light is flowing into you from all of these Buddhas and holy beings, and it's flowing into you and all the sentient beings around you. So we're on the top of page 22. I take refuge until I have awakened in the Buddhas, the Dharma, and the Sangha. By the merit I create by engaging in generosity and the other far-reaching practices, may I attain Buddhahood in order to benefit all sentient beings. I take refuge until I have awakened in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. By the merit I create by engaging in generosity and the other far-reaching practices, may I attain Buddhahood in order to benefit all sentient beings. I take refuge until I have awakened in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. By the merit I create by engaging in generosity and the other far-reaching practices, may I attain Buddhahood in order to benefit all sentient beings. So imagine the Buddha is so pleased with your altruistic intention, and a replica emerges from the Buddha, comes to the crown of your head, melts into golden light, flows into you. Feel that you and the Buddha become inseparable. Feel very close to the Buddha. allow your mind to be transformed and inspired. Let go of all conceptions you have about yourself. Let go of any self-denigrating thoughts. Let go of the concept of inherent existence and meditate on emptiness. As your heart appears a small Buddha, weight of light, he radiates the light of wisdom and compassion in all directions throughout the entire universe. And this light transforms all sentient beings into Buddhas and all environments into pure lands, which are places where all the circumstances are conducive to practicing the Dharma and generating realizations. So imagine this. You've transformed all sentient beings into Buddhas and all environments into pure lands. In your imagination, well, why hasn't this become a reality? We sentient beings have bias, prejudice, we lack love, compassion, and joy. So now we want to wish ourselves and others to have all of these qualities. So we contemplate the four measurables. We do this to reinforce our own felt experience of love, compassion, joy, and equanimity for everyone. Friends, strangers, enemies, relatives, people you don't like, people you don't trust, anyone, everyone. So as we say these four measurables, you want to listen to yourself say the words and contemplate as you recite. We'll pause between each of the four. May all sentient beings have happiness and its causes. May all sentient beings be free of suffering and its causes. May all sentient beings not be separated from sorrowless bliss. May all sentient beings abide in equanimity, free of bias, attachment, and anger. So, in order to achieve what we've just been aspiring towards, we need to purify our activities, and we need a lot of merit. We need to abandon things and adopt things. So when we do this 7-line prayer, this encompasses all this abandoning and adopting things. So we'll pause after each line. And you might wave your hands in a prayer position for this. Reverently I prostrate with my body, speech, and mind. So imagine yourself and all the beings, the sentient beings around you, making prostrations to all the holy beings in front of you, in the field of merit, repeatedly prostrating. And present clouds of every type of offering, actual and mentally transformed. So imagine offering everything beautiful, to the Buddha and all the holy beings. You can fill the sky with offerings. Make it very lovely and beautiful. You can think of flowers and fields and just everything that you love. Offer to all the holy beings. You can do this repeatedly. I confess all my destructive actions accumulated since beginning this time. So now you take a glance meditation before permanent powers. So for this, bring to mind something that you wish to purify, some fault or mistake. Bring it clearly to mind and generate regret for that. Or taking refuge and generating bodhicitta, which we're doing in the practice. The practice itself will be the remedial action, but make a determination not to do this action again. And rejoice in the virtues of all holy and ordinary beings. So think of common sentient beings like ourselves, the holy beings, and delight and rejoice in all of the virtue created by any kind of being. Let go of any jealousy, envy, and just rejoice in the goodness of the world. Use your own life experience. Think of things, people that you want to rejoice. Next verse. Please remain until cyclic existence ends. So now we offer a double dorje. This symbolizes long life. We offer this to the holy beings. We do this requesting them to live long, to always be a part of our life. And you can do this multiple times in your imagination. And then the next verse. And turn the wheel of Dharma for sentient beings. So again, make this offering. You're offering with both hands this beautiful 1,000-spoke Dharma wheel, golden in color. Offering this to the teachers and the Buddhas to guide you and to continue to teach the Dharma. And the seventh rule. I dedicate all the virtues of myself and others to the Great Awakening. So now we steer these limbs toward full awakening of ourself and all beings. Now we'll offer the mandala. Here we imagine everything beautiful in the universe, offering it to all the holy beings with the wish that they will continue to teach and guide us, and that we can generate realizations in our mind. This ground anointed with perfume, flowers strewn mount Meru, for land, sun, and moon, imagined as a Buddha land and offer to you. May all beings enjoy this pure land. The objects of attachment, aversion, and ignorance, friends, enemies, and strangers, my body, wealth, and enjoyments, I offer these without any sense of loss. Please accept them with pleasure and inspire me and others to be free from the three poisonous attitudes. Idam Guru Ratna Mandala Kamniryatayam. So imagine all the holy beings just delighted. They receive your offerings. And the offerings melt into light and dissolve into them. And these all absorb into the Buddha's heart. And then immediately he radiates light back to you, filling your body and mind. This light inspires you to accomplish the path to full awakening. So in order to progress along the path, we need to develop realizations. And in order to do this, we need the inspiration of the lineage of spiritual mentors, especially your principal teacher or your root guru, who is the one who has touched your heart deeply. If you don't have a specific teacher, just think about Shakyamuni Buddha, or maybe you have a connection in your mind with His holiness. And we need to make this request, page 25. Glorious and precious River, sit upon the lotus and moon seat on my calm. Guide me with your great kindness. Bestow upon me the attainments of your body, speech, and mind. And so then, at this point, you imagine that a replica of your teacher in the aspect of the Buddha emerges from the Buddha in front of you. And it comes to sit on a lotus and moon disc on the crown of your head, facing the same direction as you. So then this Buddha on the crown of your head is going to act as an advocate for you to request inspiration from the entire field of merit as we continue with the request. And we're doing the long one on page 26. Buddha, unequal teacher and guide, venerable protector Maitreya, successor, superior Sangha prophesied by Buddha, to you three Buddhas and Bodhisattvas I make request. Buddha, head of the Shakya clan, the foremost guide, peerless in expounding emptiness, Manjushri, embodiment of the Buddha's complete wisdom, exalted Nagarjuna, best of the superiors who sees the profound meaning, to you three crowning jewels of clear exposition I make request. Atisha, upholder of this great vehicle, who seeks the profundity of dependent arising, Drome Rinpoche, elucidator of this good path. To these two ornaments of the world I make request. Avalokiteshvara, great treasure of Advaita's compassion. Manjushri, masteress, flawless wisdom. Tsongkhapa, crown jewel of the snowy land sages. Losangapa, I make request at your feet. Holder of the white lotus, embodiment of all the conqueror's compassion. Guide benefiting migrating beings in the land of snow mountains and beyond. Soul deity and refuge, Tenzin Gyatso, at your feet I make request. The eyes through whom the vast scriptures are seen. Supreme doors for the fortunate who would cross over to spiritual freedom. Illuminators whose wise means vibrate with compassion. To the entire line of spiritual mentors I make request. So imagine all of the figures in the field of merit melting into light and dissolving into you. Dissolving, into the central figure of the Buddha in front of you. All the Buddhas, the Bodhisattvas, the Arhats, Dakas, Dakinis, Dharma protectors, all of these beings melt into light and dissolve into the central figure of Shakyamuni Buddha. And now Shakyamuni Buddha embodies the three jewels. And this Buddha absorbs to the Buddha on the crown of your head. And then as we recite the Buddha's mantra, try to let your mind be very open and receptive. Imagine this white light flowing into you from the Buddha on the crown of your head. It purifies all your negativities, all your obscurations, and it generates within you the realizations of the stages of the path. So we'll recite the Buddha's mantra together. Tayata Om Mune Mune Maha Mune Soha. Tayata Om Mune Mune Mahamune 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 Soha. Now, re-establish the visualization of Shakyamuni Buddha above the crown of your head. Made of golden, transparent, radiant light, a living being. And this Buddha melts into light and dissolves into you. Your body, speech, and mind become inseparable from those of the Buddha. And then we'll make the dedication prayers, starting on the page that we're on in the Sadhana, which is 27. Due to this merit, may we soon attain the awakened state of Guru Buddha, that we may be able to liberate all sentient beings from their suffering. May the precious Bodhi mind not yet born arise and grow. May that born have no decline, but increase forevermore.
So this is the meditation on the Buddha. And next we're going to do some breathing exercises and then the short version of the Ashtanga Yoga primary series. So we're going to follow this format of the Wim Hof breathing exercise. The first round, I'm going to do alternate nostril breathing, and then the last one is just breathing through the mouth.
Hi guys, welcome. This is a guided breathing session. Relax deepest. Lie down, sit down, whatever it takes.
Close your eyes.
Are you ready? Here we go. Round number 1. Breathe into the chest and let go. Like a wave. Make it circular. Breathe in, letting go. Just keep on going. No pause between inhalation and exhalation. And more. Put it in, let it go. Five more. Let's give it all we got. Last one. Pull in and let go. All right. 30 seconds breath hold from now on. Be in this moment. Let the body do what the body is capable of doing. Be aware of your heartbeat. Slow it down and just be in this moment. Okay, recovery breath in, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Take a deep breath in and hold for 15 seconds. Exhale in 3, 2, 1. Let it go. Round number 2. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. In, out. In, out. In, out. Into the belly, into the chest, and let go. Like a wave. Make it circular. Pull in, letting go. Just keep on going. No pause between inhalation and exhalation. And more. Pull in, let it go. Nice, deep, circular breaths. Five more. Let's give it all we got. Last one. Pull in. And on the exhale, stop. 1 minute breath hold from now on. Feel. Become aware of your body. If your hands and feet are tingling, or you feel your body temperature is changing, that's okay. You're doing fantastic. If you need to breathe before I give the cue, that's okay. You are almost there. Do you want to prolong your breath hold? Pause the video now and continue when you feel the urge to breathe. When you are ready, fully in and hold for 15 seconds. Exhale in 3, 2, 1. Let it go. Round number 3. Back into that rhythm. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. In. Out. In. Out. Into the belly. Into the chest and let go. Like a wave. Make it circular. Fully in, letting go. Just keep on going. No pause between inhalation and exhalation. And more. Fully in. Let it go. Nice, deep, circular breaths. 5 more. Let's give it all we got. Last one, fully in, and on the exhale, stop. 1.5 minutes, breath hold from now on. Become aware of the blood running through your veins, your heart beating. Feel. Thirty seconds left. You are almost there. Do you want to prolong your breath hold? Pause the video now and continue when you feel the urge to breathe. All right. Breathe in and hold for 15 seconds. Exhale in 3, 2, 1. Let it go. Let your breathing return to normal as you finish up the round. Move your body bit by bit, starting with your fingers and your toes. Let your breathing normalize.
So that's a breathing exercise. It activates the immune system, right? So I'm gonna clean up the room. I'll put on some Allen Watts, and we'll get ready to do the short version of the Ashtanga Yoga primary series.
Which is concerned, Zen has been summed up in 4 statements. A direct transmission outside scriptures and apart from tradition. No dependence on words and letters. Direct pointing to the human mind. And seeing into one's own nature and becoming Buddha. Does deal with a domain of experience that can't be talked about. But one must remember at the same time that there's really nothing at all that can be talked about adequately. And the whole art of poetry is to say what can't be said. Every artist feels when he gets to the end of his work that there's something absolutely essential that was left out. So Zen has always described itself as a finger pointing at the moon. In the Sanskrit saying, Tat Tvamasi, that art thou, Zen is concerned with that. That, of course, is the word which is used for Brahma, the absolute reality, in Hindu philosophy. And you're it, only in disguise, and disguised so well that you've forgotten. Unfortunately, ideas like the ultimate ground of being, the self, Brahman, ultimate reality, the great void, all that is very, very abstract talk. And Zen is concerned with a much more direct way of coming to an understanding of that, or thatness, as it's called, tathata, in Sanskrit. I think, first of all, the appeal of Zen lies in its unusual quality of human. Religions aren't, as a rule, humorous in any way. Religions are serious. And when one looks at Zen art and reads Zen stories, it is quite apparent that something is going on here which isn't serious in the ordinary sense however sincere it may be. The next thing I think that has appealed to Westerners is that Zen has no doctrines. There is nothing you have to believe, and it doesn't moralize at you very much. It's not particularly concerned with morals at all. It's a field of inquiry rather like physics, and you don't expect a physicist to discuss authoritatively about morals, even though as a human being he has moral interests and problems. But as a physicist, he is not a moral authority. Or if you go to an oculist or ophthalmologist to have your eyes adjusted, that is so you can see clearly. And Zen is spiritual ophthalmology.
You know what time it is. Excuse me, sir. Excuse me, sir. This is a yoga studio now.
Zen has been described as when hungry eat, when tired sleep. And when the student got that description, he said, well, doesn't everybody do that? The master said they don't. When hungry, they don't just eat. They do 10,000 things. When tired, they don't just sleep. They dream innumerable dreams. The fascination of Zen in the West is that it promises a sudden insight into something that is always supposed to take years and years and years. The psychoanalysts, if you're mixed up, they tell you the troubles you've got yourself into over all these years can't be undone in a day. Therefore, it will take many, many sessions, maybe twice a week, for several years for you to get straightened out. Christians say that if you embark on a path of spiritual discipline, you get yourself a spiritual director and submit yourself to the will of God, but you will not get into the high states of contemplative prayer for very many years. The Hindus, the Vedanta society people, the Buddhists also say will require many long years of meditation, very hard concentration, very difficult practice, and stern discipline. Then maybe you'll make enough progress in this life to become a monk, or next life. Then you'll make enough progress to enter some of the preliminary stages leading to Buddhism, but it's all likely to take you many, many incarnations. But when this artist Hasegawa was asked, how does one see into Zen? He said, it may take you 3 seconds. It may take you 30 years. I mean that. book called the Mahayana, which means the gateless gate. It contains such stories as student. I say student rather than monk, because Zen students are not monks in our sense of the word monk. Our monks take life vows of poverty, chastity, and goodness. And to make the grade, they're expected to spend your whole life, as we say. But I call the Zen monk a student, because he's more like a student in the theological seminary. He may stay much longer than the usual 3 years, stay 30 years or so. But it's always possible for him to leave with dignity and to graduate and to go into lay life, become a regular priest, charge of a temple, get married, have a family. And only very few graduates in the Zen monastery become Roshi. The Roshi is the only teacher. That is the man in charge of the spiritual development of the students. So one of these students in the book says to Master Joshu, I have been here in this monastery for some time, and I've had no instruction from you. Master said, have you had breakfast? Yes. Then go wash your robe. And the monk was waiting. Another story in this book concerns a master who said, when a cow walks out of the enclosure, the horns, the head, 4 legs, and the body all get through, but not the tail. How is it that the tail can't get through? Nonsense. Another story tells of a certain master called Mahayana, so good that he had hundreds of students, and they couldn't all be housed in one monastery. So he had to find one of the students who could also be a master. And so he arranged a test. He put down a picture in front of them all and said, without making an assertion or without making a denial, tell me, what is this? And the senior monk said it couldn't be called a piece of wood. The teacher didn't accept this answer. But the monastery cook came forward and kicked the pitcher over and walked away. And he got the job. Stories resemble jokes in this sense. A joke is told to make you laugh. When you get the point of the joke, you laugh spontaneously. If the point has to be explained, you don't laugh so well, you force a laugh. There is some kind of subtle impact between the punchline and the laugh. So in exactly the same way with these stories, there is expected to be something else than laughter, which is sudden insight into the nature of being. the kind of key question. What is the fundamental principle? Or why did the bearded barbarian come from the West? Because Zen is supposed to have been brought into China by a Hindu named Bodhidharma. Bodhidharma is always represented as having a huge bushy beard, very fierce eyes. Now, Bodhidharma always insisted that he had nothing to teach.
So I'm going to open with the Ashtanga Yoga mantra and begin the yoga. I invite you to join me and to practice every day until the new year with me. And, excuse me, when I close, I'll do a closing mantra. Excuse me, buddy. It's time to practice. And I'll keep this music going. I'll hit play after I finish the opening mantra. This guy lets me. Excuse me. Okay. Vande Gurunam Charanarvinde Sandarshita Svatma Sukhavabhude Nirshe Se Jambridikaya Mane Samsara Hala Hala Mahashantiye Abharu Purushakaram Shankasakla Siddharinam Sahasra Shirasam Shvetam Pranamami Patanjalim Om. And we'll begin.
And so, why did he come? That's one of the fundamental questions. When he first came to China, sometime a little before 500 AD, he was interviewed by the Emperor Wu of Liang. The Emperor was a great patron of Buddhism. He said, "We have caused many monasteries to be built, monks and nuns to be ordained, and the scriptures to be translated into Chinese. What is the merit of this?" Bodhidharma said, "No merit whatever." That really set the emperor back, because the popular understanding of Buddhism is that you do good things like that, religious things, and you acquire merit. And this leads you to better lives in the future, so that you will eventually become liberated. So he completely said that. So he said, "Well, what is the first principle of the holy doctrine?" And Bodhidharma said, "Vast emptiness and nothing holy." Or in vast emptiness there is nothing holy. So the emperor said, "Who is it then that stands before us?" The implication being, aren't you supposed to be a holy man? And Bodhidharma said, "I don't know." Now, if you're saying too much, I warn you. To say that Zen is trying to point to the physical universe so that you can look at it without forming ideas about it. That is saying too much, but it is the general idea. It's in the direction of being the right idea. Zen people speak of the virtue of what they call mushin, which means no mind, una, no thought. This is not an anti-intellectual attitude. The ordinary simple person is just as bamboozled by thinking as a university professor. Can think intellectually in a no-think way. That's the art. It doesn't mean not to have any thoughts at all. It means not to be fooled by thoughts, not to be hypnotized by the forms of speech and images that we have for the world, not to be hypnotized by them into thinking that that is the way the world really is. So if I say this is a fan, it isn't. Begin with fan as a noise. This doesn't make the noise fan. But it can be many other things than fan. Back expression. All sorts of things. Don't let words limit possibilities. Actually, this fan has an inscription on it, written by a Zen master who was 100 years old. It says, I don't understand, I don't know anything about it. So anybody who says that he knows what Zen is a fraud. Nobody knows. Just like you don't know who you are. All this business about your name, your accomplishments, your certificates, what your friends say about you. You know very well that's not you. But the problem to know who you are is the problem of smelling your own nose. When great Japanese master Dogen came back from China in about the year 1200 to bring his school of Zen to Japan, they asked him what did you learn in China. He said, the eyes are horizontal, the nose is perpendicular. So you see, it is this kind of way of going about things, this method, that is so fascinating in the West. And everybody who reads about Zen wonders if somehow, you see, this understanding is right under your nose. You know how it is sometimes you get a crowd of people who come to a room, you put something in the room that's absurd. Like suppose there was a balloon floating on the scene. People could come in and not notice it. Or, somebody puts on something weird, some kind of a funny necktie or something. You say to a person, well, have you noticed? A woman in a new dress, Have you noticed? You said, well, what is it? That's right under your nose. They're staring at your face, but you don't see it. And Zen is exactly like that. It is very obvious. The master Refuge was asked, we have to dress and eat every day, and how do we escape from all that? In other words, how do we get out of routine? And he said, we dress and eat. He said, I don't understand. Refuge said, if you don't understand, put on your clothes and eat your food. Another Zen master in quite recent times was interviewing a student. You see, all these stories I'm telling you are connected. What I want you to do is to grasp intuitively the connection. Was interviewing a student and said, get up and walk across the room. You got up and walk, came back. I said, where are your footprints? So, here is this extraordinary phenomenon. Now let me say, having presented you with all these fireworks, let me say a few simple things about Zen as it started. Zen is a subdivision of Mahayana Buddhism. And as you know, that is the school of Buddhism which is concerned with realizing Buddha nature in this world. Not necessarily by going off to the mountains or by renouncing family life, everyday life, etc., as if that were an intent, but realizing in the midst of life the possibility of becoming a Buddha. And so the great ideal personality of Mahayana Buddhism is the Bodhisattva, the word now applied to somebody who has attained nirvana, but instead of disappearing, comes back in many, many guises. is Mahayana, Indian Mahayana Buddhism, translated into Chinese, and therefore deeply influenced by Taoism and Confucianism. Zen monks brought Confucian ideas to Japan. And the origins of Zen lie, actually, around the year 414, at which time a great Hindu scholar by the name of Kumarakiva was translating with a group of assistants the Buddhist sutras into Chinese. One of his students taught that all beings whatsoever have the capacity to become Buddha, to become enlightened. Rocks and stones, and that even heretics and evil doers have the Buddha nature or Buddha potentiality. And everybody said he was a dreadful heretic. And then a text called the Nirvana Sutra came from India, which said precisely that. So everybody had to admit that this man was right. He also began to teach that awakening must be instantaneous. It's a kind of all or nothing state. I don't mean that there aren't degrees of its intensity, but once you see the principle, you see the whole thing. As they say, when the bottom falls out of the bucket, all the water goes together. Your real mind, while all those emotions are going on, is imperturbable. Just like when you move your hand through the sky, you don't leave a track. The birds don't stain the blue when they pass by. And when the water reflects the image of the east, the reflection doesn't stick there. So, to be pure-minded, in the Zen way, or clear-minded is a better way of translating it, is not to have no thoughts. It's not a question of not thinking about dirty things. One great master of the Tang Dynasty, when asked, what is Buddha? Believe it or not, answered, a dry turd. So it's not that kind of purity. It is purity, clarity, in the sense that your mind isn't speaking.
So,
You don't harbor grievances. You don't be attached to the past. You go with it, with life. Life is flowing all the time. That is the Tao, the flow of life. You are going along with it whether you want to or not. Like people in the stream. You can swim against the stream, but you'll still be moved along by it. And all you'll do is wear yourself out in futility. But if you swim with the stream, the whole strength of the stream is yours. Of course, the difficulty that so many of us have is finding out which way the stream is going. But suddenly, as it goes, all the past vanishes. The future has not yet arrived. And there is only one place to be, which is here and now. Awakening is the same in a way as the Sanskrit bodhi, awakening from the illusion of being a separate ego locked up in a bag of skin, discovering that you are the whole universe. Of course, if you do discover it, you see it, but all of a sudden it's a shock, because your whole common sense is turned directly inside out. Everything is the same as you always see it. Completely new. Once you know who you are, you'll never be worried about it. What was all that fuss? What was all that forbidden when you sleep? It was part of the game. Everything from one point of view is fun. And to do. What is it? But when you wake up, you see, and discover that all this to do wasn't you, what you thought was you, but was the entire works which people just call it. And you're it is it. Everything is it. does all things that are done, then that is a great surprise. But it sounds tasteless. It sounds empty. It sounds void. Because if I say, well, you're all it, that is a statement without the slightest logical sense. Because we don't know what is it unless there's something that isn't it. And if it's both all isness and all isn't, then we can't think about it. Nevertheless, it is highly possible that so, in a way that's so vivid it brings your heart to 4 or 5 minutes. A master who was once asked, what is the Tao way? Replied, walk on. Actually, go. As we say, go man, go. Go, go. And it is this aspect of Zen which is what is truly understood by detachment, or having a mind that isn't sticky and that isn't stopped at any point in its whole working. To be stopped at a certain point is what is called having a doubt. As when one fumbles or wobbles or hesitates about something, trying to find the right solution for the circumstances by thinking it out in a situation where there really is no time to think it out. So that when a Zen teacher asks his disciple a question, he expects an immediate answer, as it were, without thought or premeditation. They speak in Zen, they use a phrase to have a mind of no deliberation. They also speak of a kind of person, a man who doesn't depend on anything. That is to say, on a formula, on a theory, on a belief, to govern his action. And this person who doesn't stick anywhere is like Dante's image at the end of the Paradiso, where he says in the presence of the vision of God, but my volition now and my desires were moved as a wheel revolving evenly by love that moves the sun and other stars. But if you are brought up to believe yourself split, I remember my mother used to say to me when I did naughty things, he said, Alan, that's not like you. So I had, some conception of what was like me in my better moments, that is to say, in the moments when I remembered what my mother would like me to do. And so that split is implanted in us all. And because of our being split-minded, we are always dithering. Is the choice that I am about to make of the higher self or of the lower self? Is it of the spirit or is it of the flesh? Is the word that I have received of the Lord or is it of the devil? And nobody can decide. Because if you knew how to choose, you wouldn't have to. So, it is important to overcome split-mindedness. But what is the way? Where can you start from if you're already split? A Taoist saying is that when the wrong man uses the right means work in the wrong way. So what are you to do? How can you get out of it? Get moved? Fundamentally, of course, you have to be surprised at it. Winthrop Sargent, not so long ago, interviewed a great Zen priest in Kyoto, who posed to him the question, who are you? He said, well, I'm Winthrop Sargent. The priest laughed. No, he said, I don't mean that. I mean, who are you really? Well, then he went into all sorts of abstractions about living, being, and so on. His enjoyment and so on. The priest just laughed. He said, no. Then the priest just tossed off the conversation. And a little later made a joke. And Sargent laughed. And he said, there you are. There was an army officer who once came to a Zen master and said, I have heard the story about a man who kept a goose in the bottle. And it was growing very rapidly. And he didn't want to break the bottle and he didn't want to hurt the goose, so how would he get it out? Zen master didn't answer the question at all, but simply said, change the subject. Finally, the officer got up to leave. And he went over to the door, and suddenly the Zen master called out, "Oh, officer." And he turned around and said, "Yes." The master said, "There, it's out." When you are perfectly free to feel stuck or not stuck, then you're unstuck. Because actually, nothing can stick on the real mind. And you will find this out if you watch the flow of your thoughts. There is an expression in Chinese which means the flow of thoughts, or what we call in literary criticism, stream of consciousness. And they put the character to thought 3 times. Nyang, nyang, nyang. And so you will notice that thought follows thought follows thought when you are just ruminating. And those thoughts arise and go like waves on the water all the time. They come and go. And when they go, they are as if they had never been here. It is from this connecting of thoughts that we get the sensation that behind our thoughts there is a thinker who controls them and experiences them. Although the notion that there is a thinker is just one member in the stream of thoughts. We use such absurd phrases not only as thinking our thoughts, but feeling our feelings, seeing sights and hearing sounds. But you must understand, it is perfectly obvious that seeing a sight is seeing, hearing a sound is hearing, feeling a feeling is feeling. So in the same way, thinking a thought is thinking. But you get split-minded, you see, and so you get I and me, and the I who ought to or must control me as a sensation of some real entity that stands aside from thoughts and chooses among them, controls them, regulates them, and so on. Actually, this is a way to have one's thoughts not controlled. Or there is this duality of the separate thinker standing aside from the thoughts, the separate feeler watching or feeling the feelings. The more the stream of feelings is coaxed into self-protective activity, into getting more and more like a stuck record, the purposes of which are to protect and to aggrandize, enlarge the status of the supposed thinker. When Joshu, who was a Tang Dynasty Zen master, was asked, he made some reference to the enlightened mind being like the mind of a child. They said, well, what is the mind of a child? And he said, a ball in a mountain stream. That is exactly what happens in the process of attention, or what are called in Buddhist klesha, which mean disturbing confusions of the mind. And you see, this kind of confusion is something to which the human organism is peculiarly liable, because the human organism has language, has, you see, thinking is silent language. And I mean language in the most inclusive sense of the word, not only words, but also images and numbers, notation. Just because then we can talk about anything, we can talk about talking, we can talk about thinking, we can talk about ourselves, as if we could stand aside and say, said I to myself, said I. All we are actually doing is making a second thought, or thought stream, which comments on the one that went before, and then pretending that the second stream is a different stream than the first. It's very important to get rid of that illusion of duality between the thinker and the thought. So, find out who is the thinker behind the thoughts, who is the real, genuine you. And so one of the methods that is used is shouting. The Zen master would say to the student, now, I want to hear you. I want to hear you say the word move and really mean it. Because I want to hear not just the sound, but the person who says it. Now produce for me that. He goes, move! The Zen teacher says, no, not yet. Move! And he says, it's only coming from your throat. I want to hear your belly. And always, you see, it will never come while the person is trying.
So this is the Ashtanga Yoga primary series, short version. And I'll close with the closing mantra, and we'll wrap it up. Om Swasti Prajabhya Palipalayuntam Mayena Margena Mayisha Gauramnevya Palipala Shivmansya Nityam Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. So that's it for today. Be back tomorrow for the meditation and yoga, definitely. Maybe the full workout with the full yoga and the martial arts workout at the end, depending on how I feel. I'm still catching up on the rent for this month, so all my energy is going into work. But thank you for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you tomorrow.